Welcome in Dragon Ball Super Dope. My name is Kyle. Thank you for checking this out. So it is Sunday morning. I have not had any time to make a podcast or on Friday or Saturday. So just going to be a solo one today. I could not get together with Ray and Josh for this one. They'll likely be back next week. But I wanted to drop in, talk about episode 10, Ocean of Dragon Ball Daima. The pacing of this show continues to be one of my only borderline complaints about it. Sometimes it's moving at like 8 million miles an hour. And then other times it just comes to this weird, like, I don't want to say halt, but it's like, considering how fast we just moved through some of the story and we're taking this much time to slow down here, I don't know. It's just an interesting back and forth, and it changes from scene to scene sometimes. It's very, very weird. Anyway, I really like this episode. I'm going to do a quick little episode review, look at the synopsis. I also want to take a look at some comments people have been leaving us on YouTube and Spotify about the last episode and generally about Majin Kuu, because he's proven to be a little divisive in the community. People either think it's hilarious. That's the minority. I think I'm in that camp. Like, I think it's so funny. This episode backs that up today. But a lot of people are also like upset and they think it's dumb. And they have feelings about the idea of just generally recycling Majin Buu things again. So, but we'll just talk about this first line of the synopsis first. So episode 10, Ocean. Majin Kuu challenges the first world Tamagami for his Dragon Ball, but is shown to be no match and forfeits, disappointing Arinzu. I thought this fight was really fun in the spirit of the show. So many of the fights have been really fun. I think the only one that I don't think is fun and is in fact badass, Goku in the Tamagami number 3, that felt like a quote unquote real kind of Dragon Ball fight. As for the other ones are just kind of goofy and lighthearted. This one is definitely among it. And I don't know. He's a goofy character, guys. What are we gonna do? You see his baggy pants. He's got green stupid skin. And he's a Cyberman base. Like, Cybermans have been a meme in the Dragon Ball space for a very long time. But I don't know. I generally enjoyed the fight. I did go back and watch a couple of old episodes of Z yesterday when they first fight the Cyberman and it kills, Yamcha and Chaozu dies. Like, just to like see how they fight again, just to see if there were some similarities. There weren't too many. One that I noticed is like how they kind of run on all fours at certain points. Cybermen kind of do that. I think maybe his fighting style is going to be a little bit more akin to Kid Buu, but I don't know. It's proven to be its own goofy thing of its own, even as goofy as Kid Buu could be at times. I wanted to read a couple of comments. They both seem to be, or they all seem to be in relation to Buu, or Kuu, excuse me. The first ones come from YouTube. Shit, I just lost it, of course. It says, I hope Kuu becomes cooler in design and more like Kid Buu. Either they'll do some kind of absorption or transformation thing, probably absorption, I'd imagine, but it could just be a whole new thing altogether because they have another Cyberman seed. Watching those Z episodes yesterday, and I was like, are we all saying Cyberman wrong? Because they spell it and say it, Cyberman. Which I just thought was, I don't know, like one of those Mandela effect things, Anyway, I imagine Kuu's design will change. That comes from Southern Mercy 5962. And then DJ Coolness says, they're literally recycling ideas. So lame. Yeah, we talked about that at the end of last week's episode with everyone. And as stupid as I feel for not being like, hey, they're probably going to redo Buu, huh? Just like they redid Frieza and the androids and Cell. And I didn't come to that conclusion. So that's on me. I'm a dummy. And then a couple of comments from Spotify. This comes from Dawslam. Okay, that's a cool name. These episodes were hype, but just don't like how our new big bad looks like a buff Cyberman. See, he put Cyber too. But I just recently learned it's Cybai. Yeah, I agree. Dawslam. Cool name. He does have a goofy design, but again, that's very much in Toriyama fashion to kind of subvert expectations like that and make the big goofy thing look, or the big powerful thing or the big bad mean thing look very small and stupid looking sometimes. But again, I don't think this is in any way, shape, or form the final version of what they're going to fight. And then the other comment comes from Chris Brecky, longtime friend of the show. He's made thumbnails for us in the past. He's in the Discord, maybe. I don't know. I love Chris. He says, "Oh, didn't know there were comments now." Yeah, I forget there's comments on Spotify all the time too. If you listen on Spotify, that you can leave some comments on each episode, and I'll start trying to read these each week. But yeah, you can leave comments on Spotify. He says, "I'm curious to know how much Majin Buu and Kuu have in common and what separates them. Like, is absorption going to be a power Kuu has? Will Kuu get abilities that are just as crazy but different from Buu? I'm looking forward to it." Yeah, I think absorption almost certain. I mean, when you think of Majin Buu, you think of all the different iterations of him. And like, they're not all based off of absorption. Like, he gets really mad and separates the evil half from the good half. And what if they do that? Fucking Majin Kuu loses his Kuu one day, and he like separates the evil side from the good side, and he's just a goofy little idiot, good green guy. And then the evil part's like not green. I'm doing really good on these by myself. I don't know. Anyway, I'm having a good time with Kuu. Obviously, it's not the final version of him that we're going to see. He held his own against the Tamagami #1 and was smart enough to know when to say, "Whoop, I'm actually out of my depth here. I give up. I'm not trying to die today." So I hear he's a really good singer and shopper. Let's move on with the next sentence of this synopsis. I think it's funny there was so much to talk about in just the first sentence. Elsewhere, Goku's group goes through the Warp Lord to the second world, where they are immediately attacked by the Gendarmerie. I like that they brought back pointy-eared Goku. Give me some kind of variant toy of that, please. It's hilarious. I also like that the recurring theme of "fuck the police coming straight from the underground" makes an appearance in this episode. I like that instead of them getting it, like, they start shooting at the plane and stuff, and Glorio's out of his depth because there's like 7 of these guys trying to shoot them down. And like, Goku has that moment that we've all had so many times watching this series over the years. Why don't you just punch the thing? Goku, you're so strong. Why don't you just, you can blow up a planet. You can blow up whatever the hell is chasing you right now. And he comes to that moment of clarity as well. Tells him to open the back door, flies out, beats the shit out of them with all the Naibo, and I absolutely love it. Goku swiftly defeats them, but an underwater beast called a Kraken drags their ship into the water, though Pansy is able to save their Dragon Ball just in time. So that first, 1/3 of the synopsis that I just read, I think is a good example. And what I mentioned earlier in terms of weird pacing. Given what we saw of Majin Kuu at the end of the last episode, I would not have expected this episode to start with the thing that he's made for, to go fight the Tamagami. I wouldn't expect that to be the next, or the first scene of the next episode. It moves quickly, and I like that. I actually really appreciate it. It kind of catches me off guard when it happens, and I'm like, that's right. This movie at the end of it exactly, I already did it. This series at the end of the day will probably end up feeling like a very long movie. Like I don't know, if you edit it down to like a 3-hour movie, I'm sure it would work for the most part. The pacing of it is interesting though, when you break it up episodically, because you have a thing like Kuu and Tamagami facing off for the first time. You have a quick little fuck the police thing, which is really fun. And then they slow it down super intentionally to do this background lore on the Kraken, and like how they're so big and they're like the size of a floating island and blah, blah, blah. At that point, I'm like, all right, I get it. Yeah, there's creatures here. They moved past the Kraken. We just got so far so quickly. You're stopping to talk to me about this ocean monster. Yeah, I just felt like it was kind of a weird, slowing down in the middle of it after we just got off to such a fast start in the episode. So again, I think the pacing, I don't know. Is it pacing? Is it structure? Is it a little bit of both? I don't really know, but that seems to be my one very minor gripe on this series at this point. Yeah, Pansy gets the Dragon Ball. Woohoo, she's smart. Next one. Goma and Degasu watch them on a monitor and are shocked by Goku's power, ordering all Gendarmerie to regroup in the first world. Hilarious, these guys are always the last to catch on to everything. You guys have a TV that shows you all of what's happening at all times, You haven't seen Goku do any other wild shit in the last few days? What a bunch of dummies. But yeah, now they're all going to send all the cops to the first demon world, where they'll presumably jump Goku with their billy clubs and laser guns. Billy clubs and laser guns. Be a good name for an album, not a band name. Let's see. Hybis, Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo arrive in the second world, where Goku warns them of the Kraken before they all meet at the Namek's original homeland nearby. So very cool to see the Namek homeworld in this episode, the original, Namekian homeworld. And it obviously has a lot of the same type of shrubberies and trees from, in the one that we see in Universe 7. And it's cool to see Piccolo kind of, I don't know, he doesn't have like direct knowledge of it, but he says something like there's something like at home about this place or something like that, even though all it is dirty ass water and some trees and nobody's there. But they meet up again. They have the fun. I think the Kraken scene with Vegeta is fun because Vegeta and Hybis are like developing this weird dynamic where Hybis isn't afraid to talk shit to him and is openly hitting on Bulma, talking about boobies and stuff. Leave it to Toriyama to work in booby jokes, even when it's about kids, Ooh, a bad look. But Goku shows up. He has his little press his face against the glass. Hey guys, fucking look at me act out a monster thing. I think it's a fun time. Goku and Vegeta are both afraid of big, scary monsters. I saw some people kind of rib about the idea that Goku couldn't fight a Kraken, especially in his current size and state. And he says as much to Vegeta. Like, what do you mean? People just need to chill the fuck out, man. I saw another Dragon Ball Muppet Babies rant this week. I saw some kid pretend to sit down and have a one-to-one with Akira Toriyama and wrote out all of his excuses on why this lore expansion is actually lore destroying or something. This just in. I was editing and I was like, you know what? I'm going to read this. It's from a dude named Mohammed. I say that because English probably isn't his first language, but he does lay out his many gripes. And you know what? Some of them might be kind of valid, but mostly just shut the fuck up, It says, that's it. I'm done with this show. First off, I thought the Demon Realm would be scary and dark, just like the one from Heroes in the openings. From the Demon Realm missions, but no, it's so beautiful. It's a mistake to call it the Demon Realm. Okay. Second of all, we finally approached the end of Z, like 1 month before the end of Z. But no, we just go back before Super and give us useless extras. I can understand the frustration there. I don't know if they're useless. It's fun. It makes things a little bit more cohesive, I believe, as I talk about it at some point later in this episode, unless I already did. Like I thought, the Kais had their home, and they were living in peace until Kid Buu exterminated them. Same goes to the Namekians. And yes, one of the reasons why I hated GT was Kid Goku. But now, not just Kid Goku, ... I believe they're trying to say they hate everyone's turned into a kid. All right. Finally, the last episode was complete bullshit, meaning this one we're talking about today. This is where I made me laugh, and I was like, bro, shut up. It says, what the actual fuck, Toriyama? Except he censored the fuck. What the actual fuck, Toriyama? Creator of the universe? Multiple question marks? You went too far with this one. Did he? Did he really go too far for you this time? Dude's dead. Just fucking take it or don't watch it. You could just not watch it. I accepted Zeno as the ruler of the multiverse, and I was happy. You didn't. Well, let me try again. I accepted Zeno as the ruler of the multiverse, and I was happy you didn't say, quote, the creator of the multiverse. But, bro, I really liked your franchise, especially Z. Again, are you writing a fucking letter to the guy? I really liked your franchise, especially Z, because it made my childhood, and it was the first thing I ever see on TV before even the cartoons. But, bro, you really went too far with this one. Even if you really feel this way, what does this accomplish? Who cares? If you don't enjoy it, just don't watch it. That goes for all of you out there who are actively hate watching this show just to bitch about it. It's been pretty fun so far. It's been pretty good. I'm willing to say it's been a better product than Dragon Ball Super was. Maybe not at its highest of highs, toward the end of the series, but it's off to a great start so far. It's a wonderful celebration of the 40th episode or the 40th anniversary of these episodes of Dragon Ball. Like, what does this accomplish? Who are you doing this for? For me? Definitely not for me, because I said, bye. Can't wait to not see you cry again next week, because I've seen this motherfucker cry like every week for the last 3 weeks. But apparently, he is departing the fandom and will no longer watch Daima. So maybe we won't have a Mohammed check-in going in the future, but something tells me he's not done crying. Anyway, I just wanted to share those things with you. Again, I think some of his gripes are maybe not like, some of them are kind of legitimate, okay? I can understand where they're coming from. But again, just the delivery of it and who you doing this for, and please shut up. All right, that's it. Editing Kyle out. Eye catch, go. And how Akira Toriyama could look to potentially improve his work in the future. Now, what's funny about that is this kid obviously wrote it to a dead guy. But even if the dead guy wasn't dead, who you sending this to, dude? A Facebook group? Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Anyway, I feel great this week. Can you tell? Hybius, Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo arrive in the second world, where Goku warns them of the Kraken before they all meet at the Namekian's original homeworld nearby. Shin tells the group about his past, how the multiple universes were created by a Majin named Rimus. It sounds like they say Dimas when they actually pronounce it in the episode, but it is spelled with an R. The establishment of the Supreme Kaizen in each universe, and that former Supreme King Abara, Dabura's tyrannical predecessor, forced Shin's species, the Glend, to flee the demon realm. That was a long sentence. So I'll be honest with you, this is one of those other examples of kind of poor pacing, but also a little bit of a poor exposition dump, but at least it makes sense. In the sense that it's Bulma asking for it. She's got genuine curiosity. They bring up the fact that, again, Shin's real name is Nahare. Now that I'm thinking about that, man, you think they gave him a real name? Because when him and Goku and a third person, maybe Piccolo, maybe Vegeta, they're going to have to like work in a name to like put together all three names. So like Gogeta Piccolo. Nah, this is gonna go bad, right? But like now you got to work in Nahare with Goku, Nahakuikolo. Nah, see, this is terrible. This is why I'm not trying to do this. But my point is, maybe that's why they gave me a real name. I think a lot of people, from a lore perspective, either this part of the episode either absolutely hated it, or you absolutely loved it. I kind of I'm honestly sort of indifferent, because this exposition was like so dumped on my head that I don't know. I'm glad we took a break to do this. That was kind of the feeling, but I can see why they have to do it. And it speaks to, some new things that people have learned about the hierarchy of the gods and all that. So you do see several Kaioshin that from the Dragon Ball Super series in this quick little shot. Gowasu, chief among them. And really, I think the thing that pissed people off probably is this idea that this Majin Rimus is the person who created everything and created all these different universes and stuff. And it's like, man, we already know from Super that's Zeno, right? Maybe it's not. And again, we've all been saying it since a year before this series started, since it was first announced. You could just wipe everybody's memory at the end of this series, basically have it be like it never happened. And all this information for yourself, but the characters don't know for Dragon Ball Super. So I think that that's what people actually kind of like about it, is it helps connect Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball Super a little bit more fluidly, and explains some things like the hierarchy of the Kaioshin, and presumably it'll get into the God of Destruction relationships maybe at some point, maybe mention it, but they don't really seem to. They don't even really make mention of Zeno. So I don't know. Some people are like, it's cool to see the Majin side of things and potentially like how these two things may work off of each other, or like the Majins made it and then they kind of take it over to the outside world out of the demon realm. Some people really like that idea and it makes it feel like a more fluid, connective thing to Super. Meanwhile, other people are like, you're changing the lore and it doesn't make sense. And we know this from that and blah, blah, blah. You're destroying your own canon. I'm somewhere in the middle. Tell you what, I'm just trying to get a good fucking story, please. I'm not worried about the stories that I've already not fully enjoyed in Dragon Ball Super. I'm not worried about those. Just this current story. Make it a good story, please. That's all I'm here for. So far, so good. Let's just keep that up. That's my feelings on the matter. So whether you fall down on it one way or the other, you know what? Let's talk about that in the comment section. If you're on YouTube or on Spotify, feel free to let me know how you feel about all this new Kai lore. Mainly because I just did a shit job explaining it, but I don't have a strong feeling about it one way or the other. If you do, comment on it and we'll talk about them next week in the next episode. Let's see. He also reveals that the five trees that the Glins are born from have died, so they can no longer reproduce. So they get pushed to the outside world after the trees all die. Some of them become Kaioshin. Basically, it's a way to say that his race at some point will experience extinction, even though they live like thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So, I don't know. Probably not that big a deal to worry about in the immediate future, but maybe long term, a couple millennia, that could be an issue. As they prepare to take off on Hybris' ship, they are approached by Neva. So they say it during the episode at a certain point. It's like, who would live here? It's just dirty water and trees. And I was like, well, Namekians might, but we know that there's no more Namekians in the demon realm except Neva. An old man is probably senile and not remembering or saying things properly because he's just hanging out by himself all day. Like, I'm pretty sure lack of social interaction could be some kind of accelerant when you're already at risk of dementia. And I bet you that's what we're seeing here, is this motherfucker's brain just turned into soup because he's got no one to talk to all day except for himself. He comes out of some kind of shadow and he seems like excited to approach them. Now, here's the thing. They're already all on the ship. I wonder if they'll sense him or something before they take off. Hybris hasn't fired up the engines for the ship to take off yet. So there's still a possibility that they'll just notice him and be like, who? But here's the thing. What the hell are they going to talk about? Like, I don't know. Maybe it'd be cool to see Neva and Piccolo have an interaction. And because like if he is, this brain-addled, soup brain-addled old man, he could probably be swayed. Maybe he feels bad about the work he did for King Goma in the first place. Maybe he wants to help. I mean, there's a reason he made the Tamagamis to protect the Dragon Balls, right? I don't think he is a naturally insidious person. He is from the demon realm of old, where there used to be like good and bad, and now it's mostly just, bads. So we'll see. There is no shot of Neva in the trailer for next week. We got a couple of quick little shots of next week. All of it it's called Legend, episode 11. And pretty much all of it revolves around Vegeta whooping ass on Tamagami number 2. That'll be number 2, yeah. So that'll be cool. Be very cool to see the Legend Vegeta do his thing, like Goku did his thing against number 3. I do like that they keep giving Vegeta Goku's beats that he's already done a few episodes back. Like, it's the Goku and Vegeta show, but like in a slightly different iteration, where they're not going through the things together. They're going through the things like a couple days apart from each other. Losing their spaceship, getting in a bar fight, fighting a Tamagami. I don't know. I think it's very funny. It's got to be intentional, right? So I'm excited for Legend next week. That'll be a good time. I don't really have a ton else. I just monologued about this episode for pretty much 20 minutes. So that's cool. I don't think there's going to be too much editing. Again, it was kind of a short notice, spur of the moment thing. So I don't do very many solo podcasts by myself these days. It's tough when you don't have somebody else to like bounce off of and ask questions to and get their opinions on, because it's just me rambling fanatically about a fucking television show for 10-year-olds in Japan. But, so be it. That's how things be. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please rate and subscribe wherever you are, Apple Podcast, Spotify. If you're on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Very much appreciated. It just helps other people see that we're out here still, after all these years, making stupid stuff about Dragon Ball, because it's my favorite thing in the world. So that's it. I don't sing these episodes out, which, by the way, dude, 10 episodes in already. I'm pretty sure it's going to be at or around 24 episodes, maybe 22, 24, somewhere in there. We're almost halfway there already. We'll be halfway there by the end of the month. And I don't know. It's kind of wild. It feels like it just started the other day, but I don't know, man. So if you're enjoying these, please check them out each week, and we'll talk to you next time. Super dope. I almost did the old exit. Doing old exit songs again. But I'll let it go to the other one. All right. Thank you. Super dope.